Well, this week on Dateline Schools, I have the privilege of sitting down with the superintendent of St. Clair County RESA, Dr. Kevin Miller, and reflect back on the year 2020 and maybe get the crystal ball out a little bit, look ahead to the year 21 that we all can't wait to get here. And so, Kevin, as we've been talking all this week, and obviously the pandemic is the story of 2020, actually the story of the decade, really. Any long-term educational repercussions you and your superintendents are kind of bantering around, kind of figuring out, okay, how are we going to start addressing some of these things?
Yeah, Terry, this year, one of the things that we did is we banded together into what formerly was known as the Tri-County Alliance. It used to be with the three counties, Wayne, Oakland, Macomb, and they actually have invited St. Clair and Genesee counties to become involved in their alliance, and now it's been renamed the K-12 Alliance. And I'm working with lobbyists from those other intermediate school districts or RESAs like we are. And we've begun to have meetings with our state and national legislators. And what we're discussing is the need for additional dollars, and not just because of what we spent during the pandemic, but there's going to be huge learning loss. There's just no doubt about that. If you think back to 2020 school year and the last third of that we lost face-to-face, and then with what's happened since the beginning of the 21 school year, we're going to have learning loss, and the data is starting to trickle in about not only the reading loss for young children, but the math loss in early childhood as well. So we know we've got a whale of a job ahead of us to put together programs that not just are during the school day, but that are after the school day, weekends, summers. We have got a load of work to do to catch students up. And so that's going to cost money. And so we've begun to lobby our state and federal governments for the ongoing dollars we're going to need in years to come. That's just when the pandemic is finally kind of past us, not only what we've had to deal with as far as expense during the pandemic itself.
How about the emotional costs too? We haven't talked about that.
There's all these hidden things. And, you and I have even talked about this, about our own lives and how they've been impacted, and how the people have gone through these waves of certainly I wouldn't call it depression, but in many cases it's been just short of that. And we've all gone through these phases where you wonder what life looks like down the road, and you can't help but think that way. Well, just when I'm 60 years old, and I've been in education 30 years, and I can only imagine the toll on families that have young children, and families that have, sophomores, juniors, and seniors in high school, and all the ages in between, the emotional toll that this takes, and the worry about the future. And so there's all these untold stories of how this whole pandemic has impacted our students and our families. And we'll begin to hear those stories both, during the pandemic and well after the pandemic is over. But those are huge concerns, and that costs, dollars to be able to get, help for those people, and counseling for those people, and not only that, but guidance for the future for those people as well. So a lot of work to do.
We'll be back with more tomorrow. For Dateline Schools, I'm Terry Harrington.